You know what I mean? We can pull that off.
What'd you do to him that he was pissing blood? Like
I hit him with the teep.
Some liver shots.
I hit him with some liver shots.
Yeah.
So he was
But you know,
internal bleeding, like
I was attacking that liver, but
that's the real deal.
Yeah, he did really good. He was just all about quantity. Like he was taking my shots, and he returned fire with 10 of his shots, and none of them landed, but it was throwing me off.
You talk about being in the hospital together and taking those pictures. It reminds me of the Yair Korean zombie pictures. It's the epic
fight.
pictures
What an
of those
amazing
guys
fight.
in the hospital together, and kind of thumbs up after a battle like that. You know, you guys are incredible to do that.
People
man.
have
so,
no idea
so
what
awesome,
it takes,
yeah.
man. They just sit
It's
there,
like the
talk
Gustin
shit,
and John
man.
Jones, man.
Wow,
That was-
there you
that was
go.
brutal too, man.
You know what's funny is that everyone
I
always
think
says
part
I
two-
was at that fight and I was backstage for that fight. That was my first ever UFC fight. Corner Khabib again, Pat Healy. I was in his corner, and that was John Jones versus Gustafsson. And you know how everyone says, yeah, oh, you know, John lost. You know, who left on the stretcher? Okay, because they have that picture, right? John, yes, they took him to the hospital. So did Gustafsson.
Yeah.
Right.
Gustafsson went up, right? Went up to a press conference. We were standing in the hallway. He couldn't barely stand. He was like I was like literally next to him, and the medical unit came and took him away.
That was
on the
back when they
stretcher.
interviewed the winners.
Both went to hospital on the stretcher. So, but people saying it's just John just went right away, I guess, and then Gustafsson probably tried to tough it out.
John just didn't want to talk to the media. Is the only difference.
Yeah. And then probably Gustafsson tried to tough it out. You know, plus he lost. Obviously, he was down too, but he was bad. He was messed up. And I was standing next to him. I remember, like, he was like, he didn't see what's going on around. He was just standing like shaking, you know. And I was standing next to him. I'm like, oh man.
Well, that fight was full of heart, man.
Yeah.
When you test your heart in there, that's when you really find out who you are. That's really, because like you can be in the middle of the fight and you're like, damn, I could just lay down right now, and I'm done. I don't have to worry about nothing again. But then your heart's it beats, you know, every second. The moment you got breath or whatever the case is, you got to keep going. You got to keep pushing, and that's what I'm telling you. Like, mixed martial arts made me the person I did, because I don't just use that in my fighting, but in life. You know what I mean? There's times where something hits me hard and it can knock me down, but it doesn't keep me down. You know what I mean? You can just keep pushing forward. It gives you confidence and stuff like that. And it's like, man, if I can take a punch to the face and get kicked and all that stuff like that, I can handle, you know, this little situation.
And most of the time it
outside
happens
life.
automatically too, you know.
Yeah.
Like it happens automatically because you're like your organism, your body, right, already kind of knows how to react to stressful situations. You just whenever you're facing it outside of the sport, it just automatically kicks in that gear. I think even me too. Like
I love seeing those fights, like Gustafsson and John Jones, because man, those are just
part
amazing.
two is going to be epic.
Oh, I can't wait.
December 29th.
It's gonna be good.
I think for a reason this fight will be easier for John. I think.
I think so.
I think so.
John
Well,
looks good.
you know,
in there, man.
Well, John
He's
says he
looking
barely
good.
trained for that fight.
Yeah.
And he still somehow
And
won.
I just John finds a way to win no matter what, but he just does not lose, man. It's a type of his fight IQ is insane.
He's so smart, and the genetics. The brothers.
He's a genetic freak too. On top of that,
two
And
NFL.
badass.
The mom's taking care of. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, we had John on the
Mom-
show.
He lost
not
his
so
mom
much,
last year, but
That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's terrible. But
That's awesome.
yeah, I'm like, it's got to be special type of.
Yeah, I think that fight. I think John had his worst day and Gustafsson had his best day.
Yeah.
And John still pulls it out.
Yeah,
That's
and
the difference
exactly,
in talent.
100%. And John told me that he said Gustafsson had the best fight of his career against me, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Can you replicate that? That's the question. Can you
have to.
replicate? No,
You
but
have
like
to.
the Gustafsson, can he replicate?
He took his soul
You know,
that day.
like that's what I'm saying is that, and it's
He's
very
older
hard to
now.
replicate.
It's
Older, both are older, but John
DC kicked his ass.
You know, so he lost these chances, so he knows he can be beaten. You know, and no one knows if John can be beaten. Obviously, everyone can be beaten, but no one came close except Gustafsson on the worst day, like you said.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
Will he have
Jones is just on a different level, man. There's never been a fighter like him, and of course I'm not trying to hit on Conor McGregor, but you know what? As far as pure technical talent, without having to run your mouth the way Conor has, John is the man.
Hell yeah.
John's the man, and people can say what they want about him. I mean, I see him in the gym every single day, and he works his butt off.
What do you think about?
Doesn't matter. 2 belts, 3 belts, 1 belt. You know, he's a champion of 1 division, but still, man, he's the greatest to ever do it.
What do you think about people trying to call out Conor and Cowboy now?
Oh yeah.
How do you think that would go?
I don't know, man. That's interesting.
Imagine
matchup
imagine
right
Connor
there.
came train here. Holy fuck.
Hey, you gonna ask
Call,
him.
call him up.
Yeah.
He goes to the top of the Hall of Fame, rips that
Cowboy
banner down.
poster down,
Yeah,
yes.
like King Kong or something.
Yeah.
He's a character, man. I'm sorry, but I don't know who doesn't like watching that guy, whether you
Yeah.
like him or not.
Yeah, his shit talking is masterful.
Well, I'll
Yeah.
tell you what, I catch all kinds of hell because I love Conor McGregor. You know,
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't think he was going to beat Khabib. You know, so that played out the right way. But, you know, like I tell Steve, I said, you know what? He's bringing the pay up in MMA.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You know,
He set the
and
benchmark.
just
he
for that.
He lifted the
Yeah,
benchmark
Dana
for
White-
everyone.
Dana
Even
White-
for lower level guys stepping up, their purses went up too.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
because it's a chain reaction, right? You know, the bigger guys start making more money, so the lower level guys making more money. You know, building
Yeah.
up, right? So
I
this
think
is
that's
good
why
for everyone.
it could be a love-hate relationship
Hell
with Dana
yeah.
White and Conor because he's like, you know, he's
No,
making
he
me
needs
pay
him.
more,
No,
Yeah.
he needs him.
but you know what? He's my
He's
money.
bringing more.
Yeah,
He's
he
bringing
can. And he said it. I mean, Connor can get away with pretty much anything. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
nobody else is Connor. I mean, you can put. I mean, they tried to make Paige Van Zandt a hero, and they tried to
But
make
so
that
is
other
John
kid.
John Jones, right? So John Jones
Sage.
raised the benchmark too,
Sage.
right?
Yeah, he
As he
did.
was coming
Yeah.
up, right? So and then Connor obviously and John went through his troubles, and then McGregor came up, right? So right after, right?
That was
About
good timing
time.
for McGregor.
So it's kind of
Yeah.
like it's a brand new sport, right? We're talking about 20 years, not like boxing.
They were just
100
raising the
years.
bar.
They're
each and
raising the
every
bar.
time.
Every superstar that comes along, you know, with
Yeah.
Ronda Rousey's and then you know and John and Connor.
You know what's funny is that a lot of guys try to replicate Conor,
yeah,
and you
which-
just can't do it.
and
He's
it
at a
looks
whole
so
nother
stupid,
level.
and it looks so stupid when they try.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I love
You
hearing
have it or
these-
you don't.
I love
That's
hearing
right.
these
You don't.
radio
Just
people.
stay yourself.
Yeah.
Stop
Yes.
trying to be Conor McGregor.
That's-
If you're not Conor McGregor, it doesn't
Although
work for you.
Khabib fight, he pushed it a little too far, man.
He
with
did.
his own
Oh,
antics.
yeah.
It's super far.
Insulting
Yeah.
his country and his family.
You just
and
don't
yeah,
understand. Like some guys or some
Yeah.
people, so from some countries, you just don't go that
Yeah,
direction.
don't make fun of the Muslims.
Because you took major L's, man, in that situation, man. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like, you know, if you would have won, yes, maybe, you know, but on top of everything, you know, it should have kept a little bit under that.
Well, they said that the pay-per-view buys were bigger than any of the other ones, right?
Yeah, it's
they
the
said
record.
that the
Yeah,
second.
that's
No,
the-
there was a second highest.
Who what was
I
the
don't
It was,
first?
the, it was Connor was still number one.
Yeah,
For-
it was.
it was
Who
the
was
Connor.
205? I read yesterday 205 was
It was
the
the
biggest.
Connor.
Who was 205? Look up,
not
Nick. Who was
Aldo.
205? 205 UFC. Who was the headliner? I read it today.
It was the one that Holly was on.
205.
Was it Misha Tate and Holly, and then it was
Yeah.
Connor and
Yeah.
Nate?
It was Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor,
yeah.
Tyrone Woodley, Stephen Thompson.
Yeah, that was 205. They said that's because I guess he was going for a second belt. That's probably why a lot of people.
Well,
tuned in.
Holly,
Plus,
Holly's
Kelvin
Well,
fight-
she wasn't on that
Kelvin
one. then, yeah.
plus he was an
Gastelum and
MSG,
Cerrone.
right? So that was New York,
Yeah.
Cerrone was on that.
Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
never mind. It was canceled.
Well, Holly has a big one up there, second or third, right? With her fight.
With
The Ronda Rousey.
Rousey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I
up
think
there.
it
but
was
it's not-
Gate for Gate.
Was it Gate?
Yeah, 'cause it was
50,000 people.
That was in
in
Australia,
attendance.
wasn't
Because it was in
Sure.
Australia, so yeah, it was a different time and everything, 'cause so it kind of screwed things up. But yeah, well,
Habib
in
is
our
doing
eyes, it
great
was- it
things.
was
Man. You
an
see, he's
epic-
like in Africa building wells and stuff right now, man.
That's
That's
great.
pretty impressive.
giving all his money away.
As a champion, man, you gotta start making an influence, man.
Hell yeah.
And as I think anybody, especially in a fighter, that you have some sort of influence, it's a huge thing, man. You gotta inspire people, man. You got a platform to do so, and you know, Khabib doing that is doing.
Who's your inspiration? Who do you look up to?
Do I have
Do you have a fighter?
like
that you-
live,
so
living
many.
today? And honestly, so my favorite fighter all time, I know it probably sounds ridiculous, but it's Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was not only was he the man.
Yeah.
He was one of the greatest boxers of
Hell
all
yeah.
time.
Yeah, you can't argue with
But
that.
he stood for something.
Yeah.
And to me, every fighter needs to stand for something. And when I saw that, he was able to,
The whole thing
his
with the-
believing,
with
his
the-
belief systems and all that stuff. And I'm not Muslim or anything like that. I'm Christian. But at the end of the day, man, I respected him for doing that. You know what I mean?
the whole
Even-
thing with the military, where
Yeah.
he avoided the military, and
And then, yeah.
he stood for it. I mean, he wasn't going to back down. He didn't care what people thought of him. It's
Yeah, man.
he had his
So-
morals and values, and he stuck to it. Yeah,
So,
it makes
but,
sense.
and that's the boxing thing. But then coming up, man, I loved watching Carlos. Carlos was like the dude
That's your
to
MMA guy.
watch, man. Yeah, he was.
He's
a-
still the dude to
Yeah, he's a dude to watch. But when I came in, because everybody like, oh, you gotta know, Carlos Condit. I was like, I didn't know anybody really. Like I said, I didn't know anybody. But then the moment I saw him, and he was just relentless on the ground. He was
Natural
hitting you
born
with
killer.
elbows, and wherever you are, you were never safe.
Yeah.
Never safe. On the ground, on the bottom, on top, standing up. He was punching you and elbowing you in the face, kicking you in the face,
yeah,
and I
he's gonna
loved
kill you,
watching
yeah.
that. And then, I like watching, him do what he did and stuff. And then people are like, oh, you kind of look like him. And I'm like,
I can see it.
I don't know
I
about
can
that.
actually, I can actually
Yeah.
see it. Yeah, now you
But
mentioned that.
at the end of the day, like I'm like, bro, like that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? And then like I think yesterday we were kind of working on some stuff, and it, like I said, it's cool because like you develop these relationships with these dudes. You know, when I first came on to the Jackson, scene, you're like, oh, there's Holly. Oh shoot.
Yeah,
there's
you're
John,
starstruck, of course.
there's
Yeah.
Carlos. You know what I
Diego
mean?
Sanchez, man.
Yeah,
Sick,
Diego Sanchez, and you see him just doing cartwhells
Yeah,
and
Michelle Watson.
Yelling,
screaming.
screaming,
Yeah,
re-
and I'm like, dude, this place is
talking to
crazy.
himself.
Yeah, and then at the end of the day, you're just like, man, like it's kind of you kind of have this like little bit of like fear, like should I ask him to do a round, because then I can say like I did a round. But at the end of the day, man, you put your hard work in here, and as much as it's kind of weird you say like to get a beating by some of these dudes, it was dope. Like you remember some of those
There's
exchanges.
stories to tell, man.
Absolutely,
Michelle Watterson tells a great story about that when she was living at the dorms, and Diego Sanchez came up to her.
She told it on the podcast.
Yes, it was a great podcast story where he's walking around, everyone knows Diego, and he goes up to Michelle. Do you know who I am?
No.
Wow.
Michelle's like, no.
And then he said, "Well, you will."
Yeah,
That's crazy.
But yeah,
that's cool.
She's and now look at her. She's just a legend, and
Man, I
all
keep
you guys
saying,
are
man,
just
so many. Like, I mean, I grew up watching, obviously, UFC, and from the beginning, and like, and getting to know the history of this gym. I mean, I'm like, at least 60-70% of like UFC roster, like one time or another trained or came through this gym.
Yeah.
It's like there's the name after name and after name. It's like, and like that's why it hurts me when you like read all this Twitter and stuff. So I'm trying, like, literally want to cancel like everything, like close Twitter, Instagram, and everything. When people talking so much crap,
Yeah.
just for simple fact, it's just I need that for work.
I mean,
but
this is a place of training. This ain't
you gotta
meant for drama.
you gotta respect this place. Like,
Yeah.
what are you saying to talk?
Church.
It's almost people talking about us like Jackson Wink is like one person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is a legacy.
yeah, they think
This
Wink
is-
that by taking Wink down, you're going to take the whole place down. It's not going to
it
happen.
ain't
Well,
gonna happen,
I tell
guys.
you what, I don't come in here often. I usually come in and do strength and conditioning with Steve, but the new wave of fighters that you guys have in right now,
Insane.
oh my God!
Yeah, the
within
Bavons.
a year or two,
Lewis, yeah.
it's going to be amazing.
Chris
what's
Brown,
gonna come
Chris
out of here.
Cooper, there's so many guys, man. Levon Lewis, man.
Yeah, there's a wave, man. It's a wave, dude, and it's coming.
And they're
It's coming.
hybrid. They're They're
Yeah.
not something that you've seen in the past. It's a combination of just everything. Technical,
Well-rounded guys.
just superly well-rounded and smart. So that's going to be interesting to see in a year or so what's going to come out of here.
Well, we're going
That's why I always talking to Albuquerque, like natives, the guys, like, because you were born here, right?
Yeah,
You're Albuquerque native, right?
Yeah.
So
Rio
like a
Rancho,
lot of
close
people,
enough,
that went through that evolution. That's why I like to like get in there, like, insight of how it was before to where it's now. Because obviously I came during when this gym opened, It's pretty interesting, man.
As the other one was closing and this one was open.
And then
yeah.
like I'm like, okay, well, I wonder like what it's gonna be like for 5 years from now, like where we're gonna be,
Who's gonna walk through this
So
gym?
yeah, it's like you never
Yeah.
know. Like John, we got hopefully this year, like last card right of the year, we have like 4 guys on the card, right?
Yeah.
UFC, which one is that?
232.
232. We got John,
Well, we
For
had
CR.
John for the title, CR Bahadur Zada, freaking killer.
Carlos.
Then Carlos Condit, and
Carlos.
then Bevan Lewis making debut
Yeah.
in UFC
Yeah.
against Uriah Hall.
He has a tough
Uriah
matchup,
Hall.
but you know what?
Uriah Hall.
He ain't no slouch. I'll tell you that.
that's-
man.
I'm more
Yeah.
excited about that one than anything else.
That's
To
one
be
to
honest with you,
watch.
yeah, that's
That's one I
yeah.
watch.
It's crazy when you walk into UFC in a fight like that. You beat the guy you like pretty much almost automatically ranked.
December
All close,
29th.
like top 15.
Mark your
and-
calendars. Get that night off, guys.
Yeah.
Well, we're
And
gonna let's wrap this up because it's about you.
Yeah.
It's not a title fight. It's not a title fight, but
yeah.
you're our headline.
Yeah.
November
Isleta.
30th, Isleta
Isleta.
Resort
Yeah.
Casino. The billboards are all over the city. There's one just up the street from us. We get to
Literally
watch
on
it
the
as you
exit-
drive into
and
the gym. You
exit
get to
to the
see yourself
gym.
up there. You
Big
can call
one.
them up there. We're excited about that.
I'm pumped, man.
What's your prediction? What are you thinking?
Well, so I want it to be a 5-round fight, so it doesn't go to decision because we're both finishers.
Yeah.
Are we both capable of doing that? Yeah, we're both capable. Everybody's capable of doing that. But you know what? I at the end of the day, I believe in myself. I'm sure he does too. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna put some lead on his face. I'm gonna test his chin over and over and over and over again. You know, and at the end of the day, it's and I've said this before, you know, who's going to get what? Is he going to be able to get, you know, to my legs, to my neck, whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, I'm working with the best guys in Jackson Wink, working with the top-notch guys and the best coaches, you know, Coach Wink, Greg, and then everybody else, you know, giving me different advice from time to time, you know what I mean? And I have a feeling we're going to come up on top.
What other chance do you get to beat the crap out of a cop, though, legally?
I know I got a brother, man. I got a brother, so.
I'm sure you grew up beating up each other. So
I brought him in not too long ago, and I was able to give him a black eye.
That's
so
funny.
if I need to, we've had our share of wrestling matches, put a couple holes in the wall too. So
is your brother a fighter? Is he like
Dude,
to?
You know what? Let me tell you something. Look, I love my brother. Let me tell you something. If he would have been able to find matchups, if he would have been able to really just be committed, he was just another version of me, just a right-handed version of me. And you know, he could have been a champion. That's how good of a fighter he was. He was a 55er, 6'3", and nobody wanted to fight this guy. And I was trained. I don't know if it was because like I'm local and you know you can only get local fights, and they know who I was because I've been in the sport for a while. Or if EJ would just walk up and he would have his Oaks on and he would be in his jumpsuit, and these guys would just look at him. And I'm like, James, I was like, no. I was like, dude, we're gonna have to Urkel you up, bro. I was like, we're gonna Urkel you up. We're gonna give you some big glasses, some pachettas or some overalls or something like that, you know. And we've heard it all, man. And he just he loved to eat. He still loves to eat, but he just the commitment to it, and
he had 2 fights, went to weigh-ins, and his opponents were there, and after weigh-ins they left it, come back.
What a freaking nightmare.
One of them said that he got shipped, like off.
He got shipped.
Yeah, for the military.
He got orders.
I'm like, come on, bro. I was
like you don't know you can't get
use
those
that
in advance,
excuse,
come
bro.
on, man.
You know,
That's fun.
That's a pussy.
This isn't 1940.
Yeah,
That's
no,
fun.
that's a pussy.
I got
move.
drafted, man. I got drafted.
pretty much. And
Uncle Sam was outside.
Well, Rio Rancho PD is lucky to have him. The city of Rio Rancho.
And you have amazing support with your
protecting
dad,
them.
man. I
Dude, my
know.
whole family,
I
bro.
watch how proud your dad is all the time. I seen him come by and just
Yeah,
like
man.
that's amazing, man. That's a good unit, man.
That's why I brought him on here, man.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine.
I'm
Like
glad
my
you did,
son
actually.
wrestles, man, and my heart just pops out of my like chest. I mean, I can't imagine what you go through, man. I don't want my son to fight unless you know.
Yeah,
It's
it's
kinda
tough.
like-
It gets a little easier as time goes on
When they start winning,
when we start winning, but
and getting coaches like
my
Wig and
stomach does
Greg.
turn in there when I
It's-
see some of the stuff that goes on inside that cage. But you know what?
You know he's in good
It's
hands.
like the way
Yeah.
I always like with my child too. You know, like your son gets hit, you feel it like 3 times worse. Like even like you know he probably don't care. Just it's a hit. You feel it the worst.
Who's
As a
Elvie? Who's Elvie Garcia?
Elvie's my sister.
Yeah, she's watching apparently. She
Hi
says
there.
EJ, little big man that loves to eat.
What's up? And I told you the story. They used to, literally $200 to $300 a week to feed these 2 guys.
Wow.
You know, they just it was amazing the amount of food they could take down, and all what they would do was they would wrestle all day long, put holes in the walls. It was a mess.
You're like, guys, you costing me so much money.
Yeah, now I need a contractor's license on the side, man. To fix
Luckily
all
he
this
knows.
crap.
Luckily he knows. I mean, he knows how to do all that stuff. So I'm like, he's like, damn, son. Again? I'm like, sorry,
Get
Dad.
there.
I was
Gotta get
like,
the
man,
patch.
I was like, he had the
So
last
go to the
Twinkie, bro.
gym, man. So, like, let's find a good gym with a lot of space. Right?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's like,
Which
man,
we
it's
have
cheaper
now.
to pay $100 a month to go somewhere
Yeah,
than
there
to
you go.
fix all our holes in the wall.
That's
you know,
hilarious.
if I had to say anything, like, you know how you tell a fighter, like, hey, stay strong, man? I would say, like, hey, Dad, stay strong. Hey, look, he's strong enough already, man.
You know what?
You know,
I
that's-
love being there for him.
You have to,
You know, I
man.
went and got certified to do strength and conditioning
Nice.
to a couple different
Wow.
you know, organizations and stuff just to be able to help him.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But you know, I've tried to walk away a couple of times like, hey, Steve, you got the best in the world already. You know, let me sit back in the stands and I'll watch.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, we've built a pretty good bond, and I'm
good.
not there just for to help him with the strength conditioning, but also that support. You know,
Yeah.
we're a family of believers, and sometimes during those cuts, you don't know which way to turn, so we turn to God and in our
Yes.
faith. We pray,
Absolutely.
and we
I like
just help
that.
each other out. And you know,
Absolutely.
it's huge support for him having me there.
Well, I know you're going to have a huge fan base there November 30th.
You're the healer, you
It's-
know, when
it's-
you have that father by your side, you know.
There's nobody that's gonna
everyone
love
has
you
a
like your
chance.
dad. There's no one's gonna look
100%.
out for you like your dad or like anybody. It doesn't even have to be your dad. You know, for other fighters out there, you know what I mean. It could be a coach. It could be just some other role model. It could be another teammate. But he, at the end of the day, he was my manager until a couple months ago. You know, I got a manager, but he's like, and I put it off as long as I could because I know my dad don't want no money from me.
It's a tough
You know what I
choice, yeah.
mean? But at the end of the day, I'm like, you know, he's like, Steve, like, we're gonna find you somebody because I took you as far as I can. He says, we're gonna get you someone that's gonna be able to get you into the next level.
Yeah.
He says because you're at that. You know what I mean? And to me, that's all that matters to me. And then he's there for the cuts. He's seen me at my lowest. He's seen me at my worst, where I look like one of the freaking you know I Am Legend. Have you seen I Am
Yeah.
Legend?
Oh, yeah,
You
of
know those
course,
little
yeah.
alien guys?
Yeah, yeah.
I look like one of them at at one point in time. You know, and my dad's like, damn. You know, you know, but you know he's over there helping me, and he's lifting me up if I need to, or you know if I
I'll bring you down if you need to. Like, hey,
yeah,
Theo,
yeah, yeah.
Come
Oh,
down.
trust me,
though,
when
come
I was growing
down.
up, trust me,
Yeah.
you like that belt.
So
Hey.
who's your
He can, he can balance you out. That's good.
Who's
That's good.
which management company you go with?
I'm sorry.
Who's your manager?
His name's Jay Rivera with One Management. So they
We'll give
first
him a
round.
little shout
Our
out.
first
there.
round match.
So it's first
Yeah.
round. Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
first
So you're
round.
Perfect.
on the Malky.
It's not Malky,
Well,
but it's
they
pretty
have a
much the
division.
same.
They have a
It's a
division.
subdivision of the first round.
Subdivision
Yeah, they're
of-
getting so huge. They got
of the
NFL,
come-ups.
and
Yeah.
NBA,
They're an
MMA.
amazing organization
Yeah.
too. They're
Yeah.
you know, when we talked to them, we talked to several, and he's like, hey, if you don't like the way I work for you, you know, you just let us know, and we'll let you out of your contract.
Shout out
He
to
was
those
so
guys.
he was so upfront, man. I like that dude. You know, because at the end of the day, don't BS me. Don't tell me what I want to
100%.
hear, man. Be real with me. And that's
Yeah.
the first thing he did. He's like, man, he says, I'm going to take this percentage, but I'm going to get you this. And he says, if you don't like it, I totally understand. He says, you're a fighter. He says, you got to do what you got to do. But he says, this is my avenues, what I can get for you. And I'm like, cool, man. Like, and, you know, I always have my dad there. He was on the line with me, too. And first round seemed to be, you know, a good option for me.
So has there been
It's not-
any talks about contender series stuff or anything like that? Or
we get about like 2 more wins.
so
So we
just-
can
get 2
so
more wins and-
just so
and-
November 30th is a big night.
Yeah, that's gonna be the first one. You
Main
know what I
event
mean?
Yeah.
against a big veteran. What's his
Yeah.
strengths and weaknesses? Like, what do you?
Callum
what
is
do you- what-
he's a,
what-
I
who
think he's a
is he?
striker, isn't he?
He's-
He's pretty good.
pretty
You
well
both, you
rounded,
both.
yeah.
Abel,
sure.
Abel Colum?
Yeah.
Honestly, he's more of a grappler.
Is he a grappler? Okay.
You have good grappling.
Yeah, his grappling is probably his best attributes. You know what
How's
I mean?
his wrestling?
His wrestling's decent, but really it's his grappling.
Jiu-jitsu guy.
I think he has like 13, 14 submissions.
Wow.
He's 26.
Holy
26
shit.
and 6.
26 and 6.
Mhm.
He has a lot of fights.
But he's older, right?
That's impressive.
He's 31. So he's not old,
So
but
not
he
old.
is older.
He's got experience anyway.
A lot of
yeah, so
experience. But like I said,
That's not you can't get intimidated by that though. 'Cause,
I mean, you should saw some of the dudes I freaking just went up against this
exactly.
morning,
Yeah,
man.
that's right.
I was
That's right.
sorry, but you know what?
Yeah.
They
Carlos, how many? What's Carlos's record? Yeah, what's the John Jones? I saw you
No,
down
man.
there. Yeah.
There's some guys
Holly.
out there that even just sparring, even like honestly, I'd rather get grounds in with them because those are the guys that are gonna make me push harder and stuff like that. I got a little black eye just from I think it was Bavon.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude,
Sometimes
we
it's
went.
more intimidating downstairs than probably the fight, right? It's
Yeah,
like, yo.
I mean they say the fun is all up in the fight, and to some extent I do believe that because everybody's like train hard, fight easy, and it's to me I'm like I got you, like you work your butt off and then all the fun and that begins in the cage. But you know what? It's not fun if you're not doing what you got to do. So you got to make sure that you get your mind right in the gym, so that way you can go in there. Because I've had fights where like I've trained all this and then I go in the cage and I'm like, all right, I didn't train. I didn't transfer it over into the cage.
Yeah.
So once you transfer it in the cage and you make sure that you're hitting all your milestones and you're making your marks, doing your tasks at hand, then that's when it becomes fun. You know what I mean? So it's a little different in there, because that does kind of bother me when people are like, oh, you know, you train hard and the fight's fun. I'm like, man, it's not fun when you're getting punched in the face over and over and over again. You might enjoy the competition, which is what I believe
That's
all
what
of
you
us
train
all
for.
do.
That's the ultimate goal.
I love
for
the
you.
competition. You know what I mean? Like, who's gonna be the better man that night? Me or
Well, I
you?
know it's not fun for me and Misha at these fights, man. We're nervous.
Yeah,
We're
okay.
freaking
I
our
stopped
nerves
watching
are-
fights. I
Here
don't
we
watch
go.
fights anymore.
It's
Like,
crazy.
Man,
We're
I
like
lose my
nervous
mind, 'cause,
basket
like,
cases.
you know the guys. You train with them. Like I
You're
train with
nervous
you
on
guys.
them, right? I get nervous,
I
man.
mean,
Like,
My heart pops
November,
out, man.
I'll be cage side taking pictures, and I just have to zone out, man.
It's like Perry video. You saw the Perry video. It's like, hey, do this, do this. Said, you go do this, man.
I love
I
that.
want to get punched right now.
Yeah.
I just don't want to get punched.
Yeah,
right
just-
now.
here's the coaches. Yeah, so,
It's
well,
because we pull back just a little bit in here. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
There's no
And-
room for
and
error,
there-
man. Sometimes it's just like you feel like, and I've seen it with so many guys. So you feel like you're ready, you are pumped, and then you're like there, and that shit's gone. Everything's
Yeah.
gone. The minute you step in there, like it's lights out, just like instantly, like for whatever reason. It's like that's why like all that talk about this and that and blah blah. It's life. It's like, you know, coming to work, having a bad day, and then turning into
Well,
a good day. Or
you're-
Have you ever
Oh, yeah.
fought, Misha?
Huh?
Have you ever
I
fought?
competed, not I
He's done the
competed
jiu-jitsu stuff.
Sambo.
Yeah.
I
Oh, okay.
competed
Oh, you did
sambo,
sambo?
same shit.
That stuff's
Yeah,
crazy too,
yeah.
man. Shoot.
I was like
it's
younger,
Russian,
but
of
that-
course he's just.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stuff's crazy,
Yeah,
bro.
I did sambo, combat sambo.
Combat-
You know,
'cause
it's
I
same
remember-
thing, just not in the cage.
Remember
And
Armand, man.
yeah,
He was
Armand.
like, we do headbutts and throwing shots, and I'm like, man, like for me, I'm like, bro, that's just too
That's some
far.
dirty
I'm
boxing
getting punched in the
stuff,
face,
man.
but I'm like, that's just too far, you know.
Yeah.
A lot
getting
of
hit by-
some guys are just rough around the edges.
The
because
Georgian guy,
just-
you sparred with the Georgian guy
he's
at all?
too big. He's too big.
Oh,
Georgian
yeah,
guy.
yeah,
The
that
Roman.
big.
Is he the submission guys
Yeah,
with the
with leg
ankles?
locks,
He do.
yeah.
He's good.
John
bro.
got him
Yeah.
yesterday.
He's
With
good.
split his eye open.
No, they butted heads. It's
Is that what it was? A head, accidental
yeah, but
headbutt. Yeah.
he snatches legs left and right, like you know, like, and no one can stop it. That's what's kind of like. I started focusing a little bit more and talking to like all the jiu-jitsu guys and thing, and say like we need to focus on that stuff too, because
Yeah.
everyone looks clueless. You know, somebody takes your leg and you're like, okay, what do you do? You know.
Well,
'cause of-
he made it so like understandable, and he don't even speak our native
Oh,
language.
you were at
really.
his seminar, right?
Yeah.
I was translating.
And I'm
that.
like, cause I'm not a huge leg person. I'd rather just know how to defend it and all that stuff. But like, I'm like, I started chasing him just because he made it so simple. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, why not try to chase it in the gym at least?
yeah, at least to be familiar with it and work with
Yeah,
it more.
put yourself
because
in those uncomfortable
Yeah,
positions,
yeah.
cause dude, like those,
Yeah.
that scares me, bro. Like
Yeah,
you
it
start
is, it
getting those
is.
heel hooks and
Yeah.
stuff. That's scary.
And he says, like, I was going to ask him to, like, show defense. And he says, like, you know, there's really no defenses to it. There's counters to it. Because if once somebody has your leg, I mean, yeah, there's defenses, certain basics that we know. You roll with it, try to pull it out, you know, push on the ass, right? Try to get your leg out,
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
you know. Just basic stuff, instincts, right? But if someone, because leg is so small, you know, and most guys obviously strong, right? You have upper body, you know. Once you have your leg here, for the most part, you know, it's so easy to, like, crank because
Yeah.
it's, you know, you can manipulate easier. So the best solution is obviously not to get there, right? So you recognizing it, seeing it, right?
and then
And then countering it maybe, because sometimes he says I can, you know, like I might not show you defense or not no defense to it, but like you attacking my leg, I'll go for your leg.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So kind of like countering it. You know what I'm saying? So
It's so crazy because you know he's like they're from everywhere,
yeah.
and that like it doesn't really open it until like he literally just like he took the back, he went from side and down, he just went every position you pretty much can end up in, and he
finds
got
a
a
leg.
he found a leg.
Yeah, he
And
always
I'm
finds
like,
a leg.
wow, man. And I
On
kind
the
of feel like
best of
that.
the best. On
and-
the best of the
yeah,
best.
Yeah, and I kind of feel that way with almost every submission if you put your mind to it.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that's what's cool about
You
the
can
sport,
find
man.
MMA.
Yeah, it's so cool. But I mean that whole series he taught was dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably ask him again to help us
Yeah.
with that. He's gonna.
Well,
stay
we
with us.
gotta wrap it up,
Well,
guys. but-
allegedly, we all went to this. You went to that class. We don't want to reveal the secrets. What's in your toolbox?
Exactly. Did you go? Did you learn anything?
I got a big toolbox. We good.
Well, looks like your family's taking over the show over here. Your
Oh,
cousin Yvonne
You got
Moya.
some Garcias over there.
Yeah, there's
All right.
Valentine.
Okay.
Yeah,
South
those-
Texas connection.
Some
up there.
Texas, some California, some Arizona.
they're all excited to watch you.
New Mexico.
No, like they said,
You're
November
gonna have a
30th
lot of
is gonna be
family coming
excited.
over?
I have tons of family, man. It's funny because I never really had like the background of fighting, but I'm the first one. So me and my dad kind of learned together. I mean, this guy used to fight all the time, but honestly, like, it's cool. Like, you know, getting all the support I have, I love it, man. Because
Actually,
these guys are great.
Actually, that's true because I've seen one of your pictures from one of your post fights. It's just like a crowd of so much support. That's cool, man.
And
to have a
they
big
follow
fan.
me, man.
Yeah,
It was just so
that's
cool.
great.
Like, they'll travel. Like,
I think
the
it was
only
one of
time-
Bellator fights that came for you, right?
yeah,
Big
I think the
family.
only one we were actually kind of solo, and we actually still had family come out, was in Connecticut, and that's on the East Coast.
Yeah,
you know what I
that's
mean?
far.
But they travel, they'll fly, they'll drive. They don't care. They
That's
make it in.
Well, you're going to be an incredible headline. We're looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for make sure you go buy some tickets if you haven't already. It's going to be an exciting night. I'm sure it's going to sell out. You got a couple weeks, but get your tickets from the Asleta website. You can
Get tickets
I got
from
some tickets,
or
guys.
Steve's got. Of course,
Come-
any of the
come
fighters
see
got.
me.
Come get
Any of the
Come
fighters
see
got
me,
them.
guys. I got some tickets
Support
for
your
you.
local fighters, guys.
Yeah.
That's
Get a
the
hold
main
of them.
one.
Shout out your social media so they can find you.
Yeah, man, guys, come check it out. I need to do a little bit better on it, but it's Mean Machine 505. That's my Instagram and Facebook. I still have my Twitter, but I don't play with that too much. And then, you know, like I said, I post and stuff like that. But right now, I'm focused on being able to call them.
But even come to the gym if you have to. We got tickets down here.
we got tickets, man.
Track
so.
them down. But guys, thanks for tuning in.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our sponsors that are helping us
sponsors,
keep this
man.
thing, keeping the lights plugged in, and we will see you again next week.
And to all the dads out there that support
God bless the dads.
Dad,
Right?
God bless the dads, and stay strong,
Mr.
Dad.
Garcia, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for
telling
having
us
us,
the
guys,
story.
man.
Yeah.
This has been a
When
great
you go in the
experience.
cage,
Good
put
show.
some Vaseline on yourself
There
too,
you
just
go.
in case.
No, I stopped that a long time ago, man. I got a separated shoulder. I blew out my knee, several
Yeah,
cuts.
we're
I
too
said, I
old for
can't
this
do that
crap,
no more.
yeah.
I'm going to be 50 here in a year and a half. So
Yeah, so
I'm
you and I are the
like,
same age.
I'm
Yeah.
not doing this
You're in
anymore.
good shape, man.
I know
You're
they
in good
say he's
shape.
like my older brother. I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's my dad. What you talking about?
Yeah,
He takes good care of himself.
That's awesome.
Always
Yeah.
a good work, a
Yeah,
good
he takes
support
good care
for
of
the gym.
himself.
So thanks for you.
Obviously a big golfer too. He's got the
Oh, yeah.
king and the Callaway.
Absolutely, man.
And thanks
He's
for
probably
everything
gonna
you
go golf
do for
right
us,
now.
for all your help.
Thank you. And
'Cause he
you know, I
helps us a
appreciate
lot
you
with
guys
his
having
business.
us here at the gym.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again. We'll do it again for
You guys
sure.
are
So
always amazing, so appreciate you guys.
thanks guys.
Whatever
Thanks
you
for
guys need, thank you.
Through these doors walk the greatest fighters in the world.